my name is Valentine, or at Color Me Val, and I'd like to...
Goodness, Kenyan youth are being encouraged to equip themselves with digital and financial literacy skills to ensure that they make some financial sound decisions now. In a world where there's massive opportunities and technology, what exactly creates the gap between you finding the right thing to pursue in life that will earn you a living and make your life better, and some of the issues that we go through on a day-to-day life that needs problem-solving skills? And that again will touch on matters, critical problem resolution or solving skills, and it starts from the mind. And today we are speaking to Peter Mwangi. He's the CEO from Learn Financial. He's going to take us through what exactly it takes to have a clear mind that helps you get on the right trajectory, especially when it comes to making sound financial decisions and living a free life without burdens. And there's somebody who talked to me about scarcity mentality, especially when it comes to finances, and coming from a place where money is a mindset, also poverty is a mindset, wealth is a mindset, and whatnot. That and much more. So engage with us on the hashtag Y in the morning at Y254 channel, and then at Bransak 101. We'd love to sample your feedback as we continue with the conversation. And karibu sana, Peter. Great to have you here.
Thank you so much. I'm honored to be here.
Absolutely. Now, briefly, just paint for us a picture of what happens at Learn Financial.
Okay, so the company is called Learn Finance Global. It's an initiative, a company itself, and a community whereby we are fostering the importance of financial education. We realize that it's at least 33% of people in Africa, they don't have the financial education. So there is this gap that has been left. But the problem becomes, you can actually get the knowledge, but you don't know how to apply. And wisdom is applied knowledge. So how can they apply what these things that they are learning? The financial aspect, if you want to learn about investments, if you want to learn about, maybe let's talk about the cryptocurrency, you want to learn about all these other things. There's a process of learning it and there's a process of applying it. Mm-hmm. So in Learn Finance Global, number one, because we believe that money itself comes from the spiritual realm and also it's a mindset. So we start by teaching about the mindset and the clarity so that you can actually know why is this money coming to you. Because money itself has a purpose, follows purpose. So we are there to teach you first, understanding yourself, understanding thyself first. And then after you've understood yourself, now you can get a clear vision of what you want to do with your money. When you say you want to become a billionaire, what are you going to do with that money? What do you want to spend on? What do you want to do? Do you want to build a charity? Do you want to build a company? And all that. So that if it's also in the place of what you want to do, let's say if it's a company, if it's literally whatever you want to do it, let it be clear from start. So that now when you go into the place of, now when you accept this money, it cannot be a surprise to you.
Yeah.
So basically that.
Okay. I'm thinking of Harambee Stars and the instant millionaire status. Mm-hmm. That's a good one as well. But here, of course, they're on a professional platform that receive financial literacy skills. Mm-hmm. Why do you think young people need to be financially literate at such a season and dispensation?
I think, if I can say, time is really rushing. Mm-hmm. Time is really rushing.
Where is time going to? Where is it running to?
If you compare the kind of economy that is coming in the 2025, in the next 5 years or 6 years, it is important to have a financial literacy. Like, you really need to have a financial background. Because, you see, let's talk about an example. Most people don't save in banks. Actually, you are discouraged from saving banks. And the reason why is that you can save this money, but then after like 5 or 6 years, the inflation rate becomes bigger than the interest rate. Mm-hmm. So what happens in the next 5 years if you yourself have not understood the importance of money? Number two, you have not understood how money works. Mm-hmm. Because money itself, I was saying an example, money itself is like paper. I just put paper, it's just used as a tool of commodity. If you do the history, you learn that we started with barter trade, and we are the ones who give the money the value. We give the money the value. We give that paper the value. We tell it, this is how much you're worth. All right? So meaning that this paper does not have any linkage with me. I'm the one who is in issue. So if I want to work on myself, if I want to actually have this amount of money, it doesn't start with the money itself, it starts with me. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Speaking of that, how do you have a good relationship with money? Let's use the word healthy. How do you position yourself in a state of a healthy relationship with money, in a sense that you're not chasing it? I remember interviewing Caliph Cairo right here at some point twice here, and I asked him the same question, and his response was, if you chase money, it will keep on running away from you. And that revolves around digital literacy skills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I go deep into the spiritual line of money, you learn that, let me go even deeper. Money is made from paper, and paper comes from the ground, and out of the ground comes life. So if you see it like that, number one, it is life itself. Now, how can I build a relationship with it? Money deserves respect. I cannot lie to you. Any person can attest that anytime you have received money and then you end up spending it, you'll take time before you get it. It's very deep in the place of spiritual that, number one, don't tie yourself to this thing called money, because it's just paper, as I talked about it. So it's me, not the paper. So if you tie yourself with it, you'll find that the times you don't have money, you're in a way like you're just gloomy. You don't want to talk to people, and yet itself is just paper. So there's a mindset that also affects how we relate to the money, in a way that if a person maybe in the rural areas has never received 1 million shillings, when he or she receives 1 million shillings, the first thing atafikiria, what am I going to spend on? Not, can I just sit down and let us just talk? What do you want? What can we do with you? Because what happens is that we are so scared that this money will go away. I'm never going to get 1 million shillings. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? But now there is a place of being calm and saying, you know what? Just sit down here and let's talk. Let's just talk. I'll even give you time, because it's deeply spiritual, and also it affects how it is a reflection of your mind. Because if your mind is just like, I really want to spend, any money you get, you'll spend it. Any money you get, you'll spend it. But when you change your mind into the place of, when I get money, I just talk to it. What do I want to do with you? And how this is the way I want to go. It will be even easy for you to get and attract more.
Yeah. Now, so how do you retain and multiply the money so that it doesn't keep on running away from you and you keep on chasing it? And the more you chase it, the more it runs further and further.
Right. So it still starts in the place of respect. And I love the way, because I'm a staunch Christian, I love the way God says, and you give the examples of the people who are given 5, the people who are given 5 talents, 2 talents, 3 talents, I think, 1 talent, I think. And the one who was given the most went and multiplied it. So I've realized that money or finance requires multiplication. When you get 100 shillings, always be thinking, how can I multiply it? How can I expand it? So that this money can actually give birth to more. Now, you cannot multiply something you don't know about it. So the first step is actually knowing, because now the problem comes in. You've been given, maybe you've won 1 million shillings. Now, you've had somebody talk about Bitcoin, and then you run. You say, you don't know, because lack of financial knowledge, you don't know if Bitcoin has, I don't know how many runs per 4 years or 5 years. You don't know nothing about that. So you just draw money, and then it reaches a place where it goes down, and then you go into losses. Who is to blame? You didn't learn about money first. Because now the education itself could have given you a good picture of where I'm going to use the money. So that is why when you have prepared your mind to, this is how I'm going to use my money, it will be very easy for you to balance the money as it comes.
Yeah. Speaking still on money, because there's so many endless questions about money. Yeah. So what needs to be learned about money? Because I believe now you're speaking of a spiritual aspect here, and that's maybe the deepest part of it, more conscious. If we were to just normalize it in a Gen Z kind of normal conversation about pesa, like what needs to be learned about pesa, to cheddar, mullah, all those good names about cheddar and mullah.
Right. So I think clarity. I know what I'm going to do with my money. I've budgeted it. When I received 20,000 at the end of the month, I know where it's going. I know this is a place I'm going to invest. Yeah. So the clarity aspect is very key. But the problem is, maybe you can be receiving that 20,000 and all you think is, maybe I'm going to go to in the sherehe, if they say, in the sherehe, I go do this, I go spend on this, I go spend on this and spend on this. Now you'll find that in the end, you'll still come and cry and say, oh my God, I've lost money. We always say that the money ends faster than the month. So you've been paid money at the end of the month, but it ends faster because You have
lack
not
of budgeting
yes.
skills to help you navigate. Still on the same, because where this conversation is around money anyways, how do you position yourself in a place where you don't constantly or consistently, incessantly find yourself in repetitive cycles of financial lack, lack ile ya kukosa. Like you've given a good example. Money, your salary ended even before the month ends, before end month. Yeah, yes. I think that's a thing. What our corporate bodies, mneza, you can tell a good story about that. Yeah, how do you delete this cycle of lack and then replace it with abundance of cash flow? I remember watching a TikTok where somebody was doing money affirmations. New money works for me. It flows endlessly and swiftly into my wallet, and each coin I spend comes back in equal measure, and all those things are out there being practiced here. So how do you delete the cycle of luck and embrace abundance?
I think the biggest barrier is knowledge. I think if we can actually know what money is, if we can actually learn what you can do with money, we have solved that problem. Because the biggest gap is the financial knowledge. In the place where, number one, money is deeply spiritual, physical, energy. Let's say, for example, you see a piece, a note, a dollar note maybe, it carries value, and it is a reflection of my sweat, my hard-earned money. So if I give it to you, I'm transferring my sweat to you.
Subconsciously, energy.
Yes. So that's why money is energy at that particular point. And the reason why I also want to say this is because you'll find there are even communities or even families that might be impoverished, not because they don't know how to manage money, but simply it's a generational thing.
It's a generational cycle.
It's a generational
pattern.
cycle.
Okay.
And also, it could be a generational mindset. When you're young, maybe sometimes, probably if I can give an example with myself, the times that I used to get money, probably I've just sold my painting, and it feels like it's sin. Where have you gotten your money? Where? Yeah. You know, because it is expected my dad and mom needs to be having money, not me. So there is a generation whereby we have grown into that. We as young people, we need not to be having money. Why do you have 100,000 in your account? Where have you gotten it? Are you practicing fraud, or what are you doing? So there is that aspect of, even as a young person, like you grow, you'll find that you'll now know, I don't think I'm supposed to have this amount of money right now because I'm still young. So there's a generational mindset that is really working in us, that if it doesn't break, we'll still look for this money, never get it, simply because our mindset has blocked us.
It's a transferred generational pattern, like from one. So hey, speaking of that, how do you disconnect from? Because I think I've mentioned the word scarcity mentality. I believe our homesteads, our families play a major role in shaping and morphing the minds of young people in terms of positioning them in an attitude of positivity and abundance. And like you said, it starts with how your parents socialized you about, finances. When you're being given that 50 bob ya sadaka, did you divide it and break it down? Ukanunua patko ya mahali? Did you give it to the church? When you were given 200 bob, did your parents ever tell you, hey, I'm giving you 50 bob, you are 5, but this is money, like being introduced to money in the first instances. And at some point, I think we've also had this conversation where I was pointing out to one of the guests is that when you are going to high school and you're being given pocket money, like the shock jock factor of, hey, I've been given 5K, but previously I've been given maybe 2K, maybe even 500, but this time round, I may triple the money. So that shock jock effect of, I have 5K. You can see now your relationship with money again is dating back to the first time you're introduced to huge sums of money. And I think now you've talked about like people, and we've even seen it, we've witnessed people winning the jackpot. Somebody had $500 million, literally, and then it disappeared into thin air and they're broke like a church mouse, and you can't even figure out what happened. Where did the money go to? So how do you start installing? At what age would you say should earlier financial conversations be had with youngins?
Well, let's say, for example, in land finance, that is what you're focusing in this particular year, and we want to start from the primary level, from like class 8 towards now the adults. And the reason why is that, assume if I was given the knowledge of save 20 shillings per day, and this money is yours. No, I'm not going to take it. So this money is yours. So save these 20 shillings that I'm going to be giving you. Maybe, do this, and then I'm going to be paying you this particular amount, and then you save it. But now, still being controlled by the mindset, you find that it feels illegal for you to have money when you're young. So it feels that when you get that money, you're going to misuse it, you're going to buy sweets, you're going to buy things. But the problem is the knowledge of actually using that money. Because if you come and explain to that person that this is the reason why you're going to buy this money. So you want a bike? Okay, I can give you this deal. Do this, save this particular amount, and then in the next 5 or 6 years, you'll have your bike set. With that person, you'll be like, okay, I'll now focus. I now know what I'm saving. I'll not go and buy sweets. I'll not go and do this. I'll go and buy. And then there's an aspect of the money that you've earned. You really take care of it. And it has already taken it from one level to another. You always say when you reach 1 million shillings, like it's a clock. The moment you have clocked into that thing, it goes to another level and to another level. So I believe that that thing itself unleashes another person. We always say there are different types of versions. There's the current version and the hidden version. The hidden version can only be recognized when you yourself have come into a place of self-recognition, and it is an intentional motive. You have realized that this is how, because every person in life has that particular time when anafikanga anasema enough is enough. And that is when you cut yourself out from people, cut yourself out from friends, family. You just go and sit down and ask yourself, why am I here in this world? And with that knowledge, I think it can help this person to know why how these finances will actually be used.
Yeah. Because as well, I believe that again touches on just the self-awareness that comes with identity of self. Like knowing who you are will help you to, disconnect from, these others. I think we use others. There's you who knows yourself, and there's others. But again, still on young people and still the money mindset, we are seeing, I'd say, a culture, or let's say a generation of young people who are succeeding really faster. But on the other side as well, on the equal divide, there's the pressure of making it and getting, this money. And you realize there's young people who are venturing into, just dubious ways of making money. I think recently we saw a skit by Flaco that talked about, Forex. It allegedly turns out it's not the Forex that apparently people know at face value. It's something else being done behind the scenes. Why do you think there's pressure for people to acquire or hit some certain targets because others are hitting it, other than you individually walking your own journey, running your own race, and even getting to the right channels to arrive there? I remember yesterday we had a conversation here, and one of the guests said, Gen Zs don't trust the process. They're reversing it. They want the process to trust them, and it ends them up in a ditch and downward spiral. Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the things, there's a Bible verse that says comparison is the thief of joy. So you will find there's this thing called the peer pressure, number one, especially in us young people. So you'll see this person making it, and you're like, no, I need to make it. And literally there are devious ways to actually make that money, very obscene ways to making money. But the problem is, what does this money do to you? Your mental state is one of the most important things. I cannot lie to you. If you research I've listened to a lot of billionaire talks, and one of the things they really talk about is, please, please, please take care of your mind, take care of your health. But now the problem becomes, we want the money, we want this, and we forget about our mind, we forget about our body, we forget about everything. We forget about our reputation, all right? Because now we are young, we are 20 years old. In the ukifika 40 or 50, your kids are going to be looking at you and you're like, yeah, dad, mom. So with this knowledge, it will help you know now, what am I going to do with my money, number one, and how am I going to get it? It really matters, because I don't want because the person who does that thing knows in himself that this is not good. And it's something I don't want to transfer to my kids. So the knowledge of, number one, life, let's say we are talking about the instant gratification and the delayed gratification. Many people want the instant gratification, especially for us. You just want to the process to trust us and all that. But now the problem becomes, till when will you run? will well you run, because the moment you have just understood why I'm here, that is one of the most important times. And this is actually what is going to help you move from one level to another. Matter of development becomes the time you start comparing yourself with these people. How is this guy making money? How is this guy making money? You end up getting into this. And I cannot lie to you, it is more of like a circle. The moment you have started it, it's very hard for you to stop it. And number two, you're risking first your life, your reputation, your literally your everything. So I don't think it's worth it. And as I've told you, money is spiritual. And the reason why they also get the money is simply because there is an altar, or maybe there is a connection they have already made with it. It's more of what this money is coming to do. So if you realize this fast and early, you'll be, okay, I'm not going to have stress. Money is going to come to me. As long as I build myself, as long as I apply the knowledge that I'm getting, as long as I build my value, I believe that money is going to come to me. And number two, every person has his own journey. Stop comparing.
Yeah, okay, interesting. I remember watching a video example from Jules from the Y254 channel. She had a sit-down interview on the morning show, Mariam and Eric Latif and Janet Mugo on NTV. She talked about her struggles with finances while they were beginning as content creators, and she was giving a story of where she comes from a family where she's so extremely cautious and conscious of the financial moves she has to make, in a sense that she would get money and she'd be afraid to even spend the money because she didn't want to go through what her mom went through without money. So you can imagine now you have $1 million here, but you're just afraid to even, pursue and enjoy it here. But I love the fact that, you're bringing in the mostly deeper aspect of it, the spiritual aspect here. How do you position yourself in a place where you feel content with what is coming through and what is flowing to you? And as much as you want more, yes, you want more. Of course, everybody wants more. Even Elon Musk, the richest billionaire, he's still fighting to have more. But how do you position yourself at a profile where, yes, I have this 500 billion, but I'm working to get, to $1 trillion. And I hear, by the way, they said $1 trillionaire will come up soon, 2026, 2027, the richest person in the planet here. So how do you become content?
Let me dive it down to a mindset. There is a person whose broke amount is 1 million shillings. Like, ikifika million, by the way, atapata stress. And it's simply because he has configured his mind to know that 1 million shillings is little. Now, it also depends on the person who knows 10,000 is little, 5,000 is little. And if you have like 500 billion there, that is something you will see like, this one, I can actually get more of it. Simply because you have built a mindset that it's a mindset of multiplication. So when you get the money, I'll just know you're going to use it on this thing and it's still going to come. So you maintain an inner state of understanding that I have made it, number one. Number two, it is still going to come. And number three, I don't have to worry about it. I've been in a conference last week and it was a room full of billionaires there. And one of the things I expected is that, okay, they actually have money. People are building things of 100 million there. And I'm like, okay, why are you even marketing it? And I've realized there is no time, number one, Coca-Cola will never be rich enough for us. By the way, we're not gonna do advertising. If they just delay like this, Fanta will overtake it. So number one, business in itself, in the line of business, it's more of a competitive nature. That is why they can't afford to sit down. BlackRock, which is I think the richest stock company in America, it is more of like 2.3 trillion there. And the guy there, I was listening to his story, he lost 200 million and was able to make thrice. He also listened to a person like Trump. He was having a debt of $900 million US, and then he was able to double the amount. Meaning, this person did not let first the disadvantages, the shortcomings define that person. And then there is something that this thing did to him that made him more. So, in real sense, the biggest way you can expand your money flow is expanding your mindset about it. because as I talked about, money follows purpose and money follows identity. You
Yeah.
see the videos that you are seeing on the social platforms about money follows me, money nini.
Yeah,
I
money
cannot lie
flows
to
to
you.
me endlessly.
Endlessly.
Each
Every
coin I
coin
spend comes back in equal measure.
People think that it's a joke, but it works. Because money, as I've told you, it's deeply spiritual. And the moment money, when money realizes that you have placed it as a god, it will become a god.
Meaning that it will run your life or
Yes.
ruin your life.
It will run it. It will guide your life. Like, if you don't have money, you don't have life. If you don't have money, you can't smile. If you don't have money, you are pressured. You can't live like this because you have placed it as a place of God. But now when you've placed it as a commodity, it's just a mere commodity that I used to exchange. So what I'm sitting down, I want to make 1 million shillings. Number one, I need to get an idea that is worth 1 million shillings.
Yeah.
And then number two, I need to see how I can be able to market this thing to actually reach that particular time. Number three, I need to understand the time is going to be taking from this particular time to this, and so that I cannot give myself pressure, unnecessary pressure. Number four, I need to understand how am I going to build my financial flow. Number three, number six, where am I going to get maybe access to funding? So this gives you that identity that, okay, I don't have to pressure myself. I've already known this is what I want to do with my money. And it is just more of a mere commodity. I want this, I'll have to work on this particular side. I'll have to work on this particular side. But not the moment you've placed it as a god, number one, it will become a god in a way that it will control you. It will give you sleepless nights. It will give you
anxiety, depression. It's
and
actually normal because we see a lot of people say, hey, mi sina pesa skuji ama naenda chini ya maji. It's even happening, even in campus. A lot of people will tell you, I'm not going to turn up because. And also I heard somebody say, be careful how you say you don't have it. Yeah. I don't know. Does it mean something in now that you are a deeply spiritual person? When you say sina, does it mean something? So what should you say? Should you say I'm temporarily, financially,
incapacitated? Yeah.
All right. Okay. Go ahead.
So let me go back to my, let's say, my story. There's a time that I ate my fees very bad. I ate my fees and it affected me so much. So it reached a place whereby I literally attempted suicide because my school is in JKUAT, yes, and there's a what do you call it, the turnover or something. I don't remember the name. So I was passing through there and I was looking at the cars and I'm like, you know what, I don't feel I'm needed in this life. And that is how bad money is if you have placed it as a god, because it drains you from your identity, drains you from the person who you are. Even if you're supposed to become a billionaire the next day, somebody is just going to come and decide to bless you and actually sponsor you. It will drain you from that knowledge in a way that you will feel useless. You will feel you've never made it. You'll feel that you're not needed. And the thing that happens is that the way you have talked about it, most people don't want to talk about your depression. Most people don't want to talk about I'm lacking money here. I can't borrow. I can't do this. So you find yourself confining yourself into the gates of your bedroom and you're crying there. and that is the time whereby now the suicidal thoughts comes in and you're like, I don't think I don't think I need to be in this life. I want to tell you, let not something as simple mere paper dictate your life. This is just paper. Paper. And it's something that is very practical. For me, I had to start that journey. And when I started it, things started happening. Miraculous job, miraculous opportunities, they just came by and by. Why? Because I decided, you know what? I'm not going to chase you. You're going to come to me. So what am I going to do? I'm going to build myself to become a valuable person. I'm going to increase in skills. I'm going to put myself into a place whereby I'm going to be attracting it.
Yeah.
You talked about... there's something you talked about there, the last thing you talked about.
Yeah, sorry. I was talking to you about people not turning up because they feel like I don't have money, so I cannot turn up.
Oh yes.
Or I feel broke. And how do you say it? Do you say I don't have the money, or I'm temporarily financially not secure? Yeah. How do you put it out there to the universe now that the universe is listening? Yeah.
So I believe that words are spirits. Words are currency, and words are energy. They never die. This is why there are things like there are things that exist like. Let me go this spiritual, like witchcraft and all these things. And if you have seen movies, because I always say one thing, there's nothing that exists in the physical that has never existed in the spiritual. So if you see people acting about different spirits, it has already existed in the spiritual for them to do it. The mind, the idea, the everything, the fiction and all that, it has already existed in the spiritual. Now, if you see all these movies, what do? They do incantations. and they have this all, I don't know, gibberish and all these things. They speak. These words, they carry value, and they never die. Like the way I'm saying, I am a billionaire. I am a billionaire. That is a word that has stayed there. When the problem comes, I am poor. You say, I am broke. I am this. I am that. I am that. It creates a system of, number one, it affects how you feel about yourself. And if it does affect how you feel about yourself, you'll be like, no, actually, I'm poor. And then now things will start working to prove that you're actually poor. Yep. Things will start working to prove that you're actually lazy, and all these other things. You'll just find maybe there's an opportunity, maybe you have a job opportunity, and then you're like, because you have talked to yourself that I'm poor, I don't have money, I'm not worthy, this opportunity can lose. And then now it will confirm that, so that now you came into a relation of, by the way, I'm actually poor.
So your mindset becomes your reality.
Yes.
Okay.
By the words that you're speaking.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's the same way the Bible says, as a man thinketh, and so
he is.
Okay. What are some of the, you'd say, fatal financial mistakes that generally people make, or young people make, that still, because I know we can't have this conversation without including the aspect of debt
yes.
and loans here. But I've spoken to many finance experts here, and they've said, yeah, it's not bad to have debt, but there's good debt, there's bad debt. And then we're actually talking about our country's internal, external debt servicing and whatnot, debt ceiling, reprieve and whatnot. Yeah. So the cycle of debt and positioning yourself at a space where you're financially secure. So what are the most lethal, fatal financial mistakes that generally people make that keep them in the cycle and circle of debt?
I think it's this notion of extending it. You want to extend debt. And I can't lie to you, every day interest grows. One of the things, because I was actually learning about it last week, you have to note it down. You have to be very clear that this is the amount I own. I have 100,000 that I owe to this particular company or circle and everything else. I need to be very clear so that any amount that I'm receiving, I'm passing it to here. And number two, now knowing that I have a debt of 1 million or 100,000, I come to now my working. How am I working? What business should I build that will actually work on this? Because now the problem becomes, if you say you have received money in your business and you say, okay, now let me just work this out. This debt is still expanding. It's still increasing. And then you'll find yourself in this debt. Now the problem becomes now, there are things that maybe people take, maybe like, let's say car loans, and you'll find that maybe amefika pahali hajaweza, and then it
gets repossessed.
So what was the simple question of, was that worth it? In a way that this debt, the only way you can do it is by actually facing it and saying, I'm going to finish you. And also understanding, why am I getting debt? Because there's maybe debt for emergency, but now you find that people get debt to fund their lifestyle, which is now the worst thing you can do.
So you say that is a fatal mistake.
Because, assume I want to buy a car, and I get an access to a loan, like probably like 3 million, 4 million there, and I want to buy a car. The problem becomes, I want to buy a car, that is my lifestyle, but I have not looked at my working schedule, I've not looked at my business, I've not looked at a way that this money can actually come. Because yes, a car right now, it's nearly becoming an asset. Like a car needs to be more it's a common thing, because it saves you time, and time itself is nearly equal to money.
Flexibility.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what is the reason for me to take this debt for a car instead of actually making that money to buy the car? So there is the same thing about the instant gratification and delayed gratification. If you delay that gratification, you say, okay, I want to buy this car, but okay, if I save enough, I think next year I'll have bought my first car. So I don't have to put myself in debt where I'm going to pay an extra 300 or 400,000, which I am not sure. Because as I've told you, especially when you're taking debts, look at the current economy, how the economy is actually growing in the next couple of years. What is the interest rates of different things? And this is actually what's going to keep you, because you'll find that maybe the cars appreciated or maybe depreciated and all that. Maybe things are happening in your life, and you'll find yourself in a deep hole of debt. So one of the things I think is understanding why should I get this debt? And is it really worth it to get this debt? Number two, not getting debt to fund your lifestyle, but actually building a system. That's why there are most businesses that start with debts and they end up, paying all the debts and everything else.
They get serviced,
Yes.
Sorry, but also we've learned about, we've seen, I think it was still Elon Musk who borrowed the $44 billion to buy Twitter. You'd realize most of them, and they even say some of these five-star competitive businesses are running on debt, so they're doing debt servicing. But at least for them, the money is coming in, the revenue is coming in at a specific times, in as much as it's not like twice the debt, but it's coming in. And so they're refilling and they're servicing and oiling the debt, so it gets paid off eventually. But now, for like the way you've said, a person borrows 100,000 to pay rent, and you don't have another stream of income to refill it with 100,000. So that ends up getting you into a black hole of debt. Now, for businesses, and I think we can try to profile employed people and entrepreneurs, a person who is working in a business. How do you position yourself in a stable financial curve, in a sense that you don't go through these pitfalls that come eventually? Either way, you're employed, you'll still have financial issues. You have a business, there'll still be at least some missing gaps here.
Yes. So I think when I am employed, my financial understanding needs to be very my financial what do you call it? My financial accounts need to be very clear. I need to be knowing this is the amount of money I'm making, and this is the amount of money I can use to fund my business. And number two, that money can be used to, maybe if you want to literally take a loan. You talk about the different types of investments. One of the common use of SACCOs is the aspect they give you 3 times the loan, 3 times the amount of money as a loan. So if you want to get a loan, that is a place where you can get, maybe save up an amount of money, maybe it's 100,000, 200,000, and then when you save it there, they can give you a loan from like three times that the amount, maybe 600,000 there. So number one, the financial, because when building that business, I always say you make a 12-year plan for everything. Like, I know the first year I'm going to be using this particular amount of money, so in the end I might have maybe 1 million or 2 million shillings that is required for this business. Now this gives you a very clear perspective of, now when I get this particular loan, this is the way I'm going to use it, and this is how I expect to make money. And of course, life is not governed, life is not direct, it's not like it's a straight line. There are things that might come. So also in the place of knowledge and understanding, there are people who have been in debt, and they're in business. So I always say, get some advice in people who have actually made it. You see, like, there's something that Elon Musk knows about business. There's a lot of things that this guy knows about business. But now, how do we get into contact with such people? In Kenya, there are people who actually, they are doing well in the place of business, and they have actually used loans. So getting knowledge from such people will also help this person who is employed to, like, okay, no, maybe I can save this particular amount of money, and then I can maybe decide to do this. Or I have like 500,000, I want to invest in the bonds or and the maybe stocks, especially bonds, so that you cannot need by interest. So I want to invest here, and then in like 4 or 5 years, this money I can be able to do this because it will have grown and actually gained interest. Now in the place of now an entrepreneur, it's all about understanding the amount of money that you need to make, and what is the structure of the amount of money you expect. Because now the structure is what builds the business in a way that now you can actually approach investors. You can actually look for funds knowingly that this is how the business can work. Number two, deep research is very important, because I always say it's not that the fact that the business space is too, it's not too
super competitive and performative.
Okay. And the advantage of actually being competitive, if you look at 2 shops, they are here and there, these people are actually making money, because if I lose something here, I'll go to this particular place. If I lose something here, I'll go to a particular place. And that is why Coca-Cola and Fanta exists, because they actually learn that. And I've realized, and also Pepsi. And because I realized there are people, if I can create my own product, I can create 2 products, whereby I can put 2 products. Assume I have Coca-Cola and Pepsi. I think that's happened. Coca-Cola and Pepsi. So if you buy from Pepsi, you think you have not given money to Coca-Cola, but you actually have given me money. If you buy from Coca-Cola, you think you have not given Pepsi money, but you actually bought money from me. So there's there is a gap that is especially in the business, the structure of how, this is how I think I can be able to make money.
Yeah.
Deep research is actually what is needed, so that now when the money comes, number one, you know how it goes. Number two, you know how to track it. Number three, you're going to be very serious and very specific about your investments. And also, this money that you're generating from the business, don't dare connect it to your personal life, because if you make 300,000 from a 500,000 investment, that is the 300,000 is for the stock, not for you to use. It doesn't care if it's profit, that is not yours. It's for the business.
Because you've seen even people with small, we call them startups, and now even SMEs, when somebody makes, unasikia wanasema, hey, we'll make 5K, but 20,000 mbili and ilipie something, you know, and you realize it has messed up the whole profile of the business. Now I want us to shift to the savings culture. When you look at still dating back to where we come from, because if you review our lives from childhood, our formative years, it revolves around, you know, school, home, and church here. But I also believe part of, you know, let's say financial literacy skills revolves around, you know, savings and your interaction with money, your relationship still back to your early formative years on how you received money, how you viewed money, how you guys interacted with money, the first person to make huge amounts of money in your family. I believe it dates back there. So when it comes to the saving culture being inculcated in young people's lives, at what point should they, you know, receive these nuggets of, hey, ukipewa 500 kama pocket money yako ya shule, usispend zote tena uitishe 500 ingine, at least toa 50 bob na uweke mahali. So should it be sooner, or should be when you're employed? Because most of us, because me, I'm a millennial, I'm just like 1 year away from the Gen Z millennials. We started, you know, experiencing maybe big money while you started working, and, you know, you can now handle your bills and whatnot, but nobody ever prepared you for the worst case scenario that could happen when you get small amounts of money and your needs are more, or when you get big or a huge sum of money, and now you have to know how to put it under the 50, 30, 20, you know, kind of rule that governs financing.
I think savings can be two things, and I'm going to talk about it especially because of the mindset. There are people who save because they are hoarders. Hoarders are those people who don't want money to go, so they will make a lot of money, but they want it to stay around it. So the problem becomes now, this money in the next couple of years is not going to be the same value. So number one, what is the purpose of saving? Because saving needs to have a purpose. It needs to have a purpose. It's either saving for, number one, a business, saving for your fees, saving for a particular investment, saving for this and that. It needs to have, not just saving and this. And that's why also they have things like the insurance, because now you know what it's going to do. You know it is assuring me in the place of life and maybe a car and all that. So the problem becomes if you are just told to save, or you're not told to save for what reason. Because now it feels like, when you're told to save without a reason, it feels like you're being pressured in a way. Why are you limiting me? And the Eliud Kipchoge says discipline is freedom. That those people who are free are those people who are disciplined. And it's simply because my body itself, my body and my mind wants to work for itself. It doesn't want me to control it. So the moment I have said no to my desires, said no to my thoughts, said no to all these things, because we are the people who allow them to work. So the moment you have actually gained control, a man who has control of his body has control of a lot of things. So the moment you have gained control of your thoughts, your emotions, your desires, in a way that I can actually have 100,000, and I have seen a very nice maybe shoe that is worth 10,000, and I'll be like, you know what? No, because my desire wants it, but now I have grown into a place where I'm disciplined enough to say, this money, I'm going to use it for this particular reason, and I'm going to be saving it for this particular reason. So I think the aspect of understanding the purpose of this financial abundance is very important, and also what is the reason for saving. And if you learn in the process of saving, you can save maybe to 100,000, 200,000, then this money that you've gotten, now you go to invest into other things. If you save money, invest, so that now the money can also be working for itself. This is what you call now the passive income. And I always give an example of the government bonds, which will never say that enough is enough, we don't want loans. They'll always want loans from us. So I think that's the basic thing.
Yeah, okay, absolutely. As we bring this conversation to a close, because we've been here for an hour now, I'm seeing right here on your description, you're creating a global impact one session where a cohort and a soul at a time from Africa to nations that believe in financial literacy. It's not a luxury, but a necessity. Maybe what other projects are working at Learn Financial that you'd say are really impactful, and any Gen Z or millennial who's watching that would love to be a part of it, maybe in the next session? What exactly happens when you're conducting these sessions, and how do you choreograph them that bring other young minds on board?
Well, number one, so I'm a speaker and moderator and now a trainer and a teacher of mindset and clarity. So there are these different platforms that give me access to the youth. And now, as we are diving into now going to different schools and primary and secondary schools and even campus, we want to spread that, the knowledge of finances. So one of the biggest things, I always talk to my community. I have a community of like 60 to 100 people there. And I always talk to them and I tell them, it is wasteful for you to have $1 million shillings if you don't know what to do with it. And it is wasteful for you to have $1 million shillings if you don't have the mindset to actually manage that $1 million shillings. I cannot lie to you. Any person who has 5 companies has the capacity of managing 5 companies. But can you manage one company? Can you manage the stress? Can you manage the times, the hours, the sleepless days and all that? Can you really manage it? So the question becomes, are you ready for your miracle? Now, this is what we teach. You have to understand that life itself needs to be governed, and it's upon you to know yourself, the self-image and self-identity. The moment you have understood yourself first, it becomes easy for you to now get into the space of financial literacy. So that these things that you're learning, and that is why some people can actually get a degree in finances and all that, but why are they still poor? There is an aspect of the application. Because now, I can actually have 25 degrees, but if I don't apply nothing in what I've learned, it becomes an issue. So that is why the mindset needs to be set first. And this mindset leads to clarity of what you want to do. If you want to become a musician, this is the amount of money maybe you want to invest in. If you want to become maybe a business owner, you understand that this is the money that you need to have. And this is actually what guides you. Now, as you go into the place of now understanding how can I grow this money, you learn that now you get to the space whereby I know I can actually make paintings, I can sell paintings, I know I can actually do business, I can do this and that. So this knowledge of knowing that I can actually do all these 5 or 6 things becomes a channel of your journey. So you find it becomes a process from the mindset, understanding, changing a mindset from a scarcity to an abundance mindset, knowing that money is there for you. The paper itself is there for you. The problem is, do you know about it? And then number 2, are you ready for it? Because money never comes to a person who is not ready. It never comes. It will run away from you. It will if it comes by mistake, it will go by mistake. All right. So I think that is one of the things. The process of understanding the mindset, understanding your clarity, what you want to do, and then now so that when this money comes, you know directly this is what I want to do.
So how many sessions have you had?
Countless, I think. Countless sessions. I do weekly sessions sometimes physical meetings. If I can say, it's countless. And it's more of like right now we are moving into the digital aspect, because we really need to know that there are jobs that are going to be replaced, whether we like it or not. Now the problem becomes, our generation doesn't want to you don't want to hear that.
It's not receptive, because it's scary. You can imagine, that's why I said it's utopia, dystopia. Perfection, but imperfect, and so you have to adapt to it here. Your recent session, maybe you can talk about what are the outcomes and what's the feedback, what are people saying?
So my recent session was now the meeting, the conference that I went. And I think one of the things that I took from those guys is, number 1, as a business owner, never sleep. It's highly competitive. And number 2, love it. Because if you don't love your business, nobody's going to love it. If you don't believe in your business, nobody's going to believe in it. If I don't believe in finance, nobody's going to believe in it. So the question becomes, why are you scared of posting the shoes you're selling? Why are you scared of doing all this? Why are you scared of making content about your products? And yet it is yours, it's nobody else. So I don't, when you have this is who I am, and that's why the self-image is important. And the inner conversation becomes God's word in action. So that this can actually guide you to the person you want to become. The hidden version becomes unleashed. So in that space, if I can talk about the mindset, it's pretty deep, but a mindset is something that you have set your mind to. So it's like more of like a frequency. It's like
Is it possible to be conditioned by external factors? And now, since it's like it's like, you know, the way I think there's a book by Oprah that says we are a product of who and where we come from. I think it's a philosophy. It's not a reality for everyone. I'm just using it as an example. She said we are a product of who and where we come from. Life structures us with experiences. So it shapes how we view life. And this internal filter of how I process trouble, how I process pleasure, how I process pain, how I process being offended and things going, haywire. So would you say maybe that can also be from a place of where you come from and how you experienced life? That mindset can still be uninstalled, deconstructed, and transformed to something else. But it's more like therapy, and it's more now spiritual and just whole consciousness and awareness.
Definitely. Sorry for that. Definitely, because the process of changing your mind takes time. But now the problem becomes, do you want to take that time to learn? Do you want to take that time to listen to a lot of personal development projects, podcasts? Do you want to listen to a lot of things that are going to help you change your mind? Do you want to listen to the people you're beholding? The more you behold, the more you become. So this in itself is what the transformation it means. Because if you learn about metamorphosis, and one of the things that I love about metamorphosis is that when this, what do you call it? Is a butterfly, but caterpillar. When this caterpillar transforms into a butterfly, it will never go back there. And that is the greatest advantage. If you decide to change right now and become that other person, it will be very hard for you to go back to that person. Because number one, you have set rules in your life. Number two, there are certain things you can't do. You have already made commitments. Number three, you work in discipline. If I'm supposed to make 3 videos per day, I'm going to do that. If I'm supposed to wake up at this particular time, I'm going to be doing that. So it's going to be very hard for you to go back to your current self or your current version, simply because you have metamorphosed into another being, another version of yourself. And it is a process. And one of the things that becomes an issue is actually identifying it. Because now you will be asking yourself, why am I not making money? Why are these things happening in my life? Why when I get money, I feel like doing this? So when you go back to your life, when you go back to knowing yourself, the generational,
self-introspection,
Yes, self-introspection. When you go and realize that, maybe it's because I'm the first person to become a millionaire in my family, and there's a lot to pass through. There's a lot of mental shifts. There's a lot of things. Number two, maybe there's a particular addiction that is is actually affecting me. Maybe I get money, I do this and that. So this thing gives you that idea of, no, so this is where I'm missing it. And now from that, it becomes easier for you to move from that particular point to another, simply because number one, you have gotten to know what the issue is, and number two, it becomes clear to now follow the path. And the path itself is like the highway. The highway, if it doesn't have bumps, it's very risky. So the bumps are there to actually tell you, chill down fast.
But expressway ni premium, tunaenda direct airport tuki exit.
But that's a mild example.
But lastly, as you tell people where they can get to hold of learn financial, what is that one interesting thing you've noticed about millennials at large and Gen Zs at large when it comes to this conversation and these talks that you're holding? One interesting thing that you noticed is either maybe it's missing, or it's there but they've not discovered, or maybe some sort of a culture, or it's a pattern, or it's a similar, it's same issue. Oh, I can see you, same issue. Oh, I can see you, same issue. Same thing, same problem. I'm a same cycle. Is that something you've noticed?
I think it's so there is a lot of comparison. Comparison is a thief of joy. The moment you start comparing yourself with another person, you live his life and not, you live his or her life and not yours. Because you'll be very keen of what he's doing and not what you're doing. So you'll be waking up and saying, has he posted, has he done this, has he done this? You end up living a person's life instead of living yours. And now that becomes a problem. People look at me and they want to say, I want to become like you, Nini, and all that. I always say, become yourself. Becoming yourself is one of the most unique things, because the moment you understand how unique you are, any person, we have different fingerprints. There's no person who has my fingerprint in the world. And that is how unique you are. So the moment you've understood how unique you are, the kind of capacity you carry, it becomes easy for you to navigate in this life. Because identity is one of the key things that is lacking. Number two, there are times that you're going to grow. There are times you're going to expand your mind. There are times you're going to be very serious about your life. And what is going to happen is that there are people who are going to actually miss in your life. There are people who are going to they're not going to be relating the same way. And that is what I was talking about, the mindset. There is a certain way that you can tune your mindset to actually attract the right people. In a way that there are people who are going to come to you simply because they want to know more about you, and you become mutual in a way that you understand what you're saying. It becomes an exchange. So in this journey, number one, always know that the moment you start growing, there are things are going to die. Metamorphosis, a caterpillar needs to die, get into that cocoon, go through that process, and then become a butterfly, and also learn about the eagle. After 40 years, it goes into a very painful process. So there is this part of life that it's going to be very painful, but now the fruits are quite big. So
okay.
Yeah.
Now, what can they get hold of, Learn Financial, and what will they benefit when they come there? Tell them in 30 seconds.
Okay, so you can find us on our social platforms, Learn Finance Global, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, but not commonly in YouTube. And my personal account is Real P Mwangi, because I realize people have my names, Peter Mwangi. Is a person who has literally all my names, but you'll find me at Real P Mwangi on all socials, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn there. And we post all these things about finances, the importance of knowing yourself, the mindset, the power of your mind, and we also encourage people to build. People in my company people are actually getting new jobs, new opportunities, building businesses using AI and all these different things, simply because they are in such a space. And one of the things that I get as feedback from them is they like being around a place where they're thinking the same way. And sometimes it's pretty hard to find young people in a place where they're just being serious about what they want. Yeah. And this is what we want to create. We want to create an ecosystem whereby you're always challenged. There's a particular mentor just came and asked me one day, what is your net worth? And I was like, I had to calculate all these other things. And I'm like, you need to know your net worth, because now you need to know your net worth is how you balance your assets less your liabilities. That can be your net worth percentage. So if you know these things, it is going to be guiding you. Oh, I have a net worth of 50,000. I have a net worth of 100,000. I need to grow it. So these are the small things that we do. We do clarity coaching, mindset coaching on our sessions. We do one-to-one, classes. And also there's a community I'm building called the Wealth Circle, and this is more of creating a mind of wealth, a wealth circle whereby you just talk about money, talk about investments, talk about all these digital currencies and stuff, so that you can now be vast. You can actually be diversified in all these platforms.
Yeah, I've not heard you give an email or a site, but it's fine, or a number. Oh, you want to give? Sure.
Yes, but so my email is Peter, GLIM 492@gmail.com, and can I give you my number?
Sure.
My contact is +254 708 989 489, +254 708 989 489.
Absolutely. Thank you. Peter Mwangi, CEO Learn Financial, for your incredible insights, and good luck. All the best.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us.
Karibu sana. We're going to take a very short break, and we'll come back with the next conversation at Y254 channel. Our question of the day will be loaded up in just a bit on the hashtag Y in the morning at Brand Sakono. See you on the other side in just a bit.